Welcome to the Online Health Business Podcast. It's Jav, Coach Mike's in the building.
Welcome.
And today, I think we're going to talk about a topic that I think will help a lot of coaches, man. It's going to help a lot of coaches. It's going to help myself. And ultimately, we're going to talk about how to deal with negative clients. We've all had them. We've all had them. The people that sign up and don't listen to anything you say. They don't do a single check-in. They ignore your messages. They do one workout, then disappear. They ask for a refund and they ain't even done anything. We've all had them. So yeah, it's going to be a very raw and honest podcast episode on how to deal with negative clients. And we're going to go through everything, like what we do, how I would coach it, and how I also deal with it. Because I think for every type of coaching, you're always going to have it in it. Like like whether it's fitness,
job, it's life, bro, isn't it?
Life,
everywhere in life, yeah, man.
It's a life thing. So yeah, man. I guess really, before we even get going, again, please like, share, subscribe. I need you guys to just do that for us. Just a little like, man. It just takes 2 seconds because
2 seconds.
You know, we need that algorithm bump up. We need to get this out there. There's a lot of value that we could be, you could be sharing with other coaches. Don't hide all the goods, man. So yeah, man. I guess really the first thing, and it's funny because I had a message this morning or last night from somebody about people leaving their breed type thing. How does this happen? Why does this actually happen? Like, why would someone? And I don't even know the answer to this, but like, why would someone pay for a service and cause you headache?
You say cause you headache? Yeah.
Like, why do they pay and not? And why does a negative client happen? Like, why does that happen?
But you know, I think we should dive into just first is that what's coaching? Like, what is coaching to you? Like,
what's coaching? That's a good question. I think coaching is helping someone get from point A to point B in any way, in any form possible, in any shape possible, or in a way or through a system that person enjoys and understands, by providing your expertise.
Okay, so all right, cool. So you got to help people get from A to B, and then obviously the people that we're helping they're in distress, or they're lacking something, or they need guidance.
They're lacking something and they need guidance. They might not be in distress, but they usually are in distress too.
Yeah,
as a part of it.
Cool. So that's the first thing we've got to really take into consideration: who we are actually looking to coach, right? And when you're in fitness, who is it generally? In like it's. Depending on your niche, there's only a few niches that the people that you're coaching are already of a certain level of independence. Like if you coach athletes, what would you say on that one?
As in, they're in like when you're coaching fitness, usually like that person won't be independent.
Yeah, like because your question was, why do people pay for something and then like cause problems, give headaches, not do it, and all of that. And I just, wanted to highlight who the people are. I think that's important to know,
Like what type of person they are.
Yeah, what type of person.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Well, yeah, I guess like you said with the niches, depending on what your niche is, the likelihood is it's someone that is obviously out of shape. Maybe, and obviously to be out of shape, your mindset towards health and fitness is already
100%
flawed. Your decision-making process around eating and training is already flawed. So to then be coached on it, but then the whole process of you paying the money is to change your mindset towards it and approach it differently. Right? So yeah, like...
Yeah, it's tricky because it's like some people, I think if people are at different points of their journey, you can look at it like that. And you can also look at some people are just more far off than others. Like some people are really that just, and everybody's got a different background, different way they've been raised and everything like that. So essentially, we just got to remember we're in the business of people. And I think that the biggest thing that most coaches, PTs don't really realize is that you're diving into the world of business. You're not becoming a personal trainer. You're actually diving into the world of business because you're self-employed. And actually, you can identify whether that's what you want to do, because you can go and work for a gym. And it doesn't have to just be a Pure Gym, there's a gym group or Planet Fitness for anyone in the States. It can be like a Equinox, like a higher end gym, Third Space, and you can make a lot of money doing something like that. You can be a celebrity personal trainer. You can go train people on yachts. I knew some girls that used to do that.
Do the boat thing, innit? The cruise thing.
So you got to know when you're jumping into personal training, if you're doing the normal avenue everyone does, that's business. Now you're choosing to go into business and you're choosing the different types of business and you're choosing service, right? So it revolves around people and there's different types. You could make a product. You could actually make a product. You could make a software. You can make I'm trying to say to you. And Lord knows, some nights I sit down and think, bro, I just have made I just made a beauty band, I'm trying to say, and run it up. But yeah, man, like that's what it is. We're in the business of service of people. So you need to understand that people are people. We can't even group people in this. Like you can have two people from the exact same background, right? They look exactly the same. But one of them is just screwed on and then one is just really just not there.
Cool. That's true. It's true. I think it's been highlighted more for me doing the mentoring side. Like it's all the same. Sometimes in the mentoring space it's worse because or maybe it feels worse because you wouldn't expect it.
You wouldn't, that's it, yeah.
And I think that's why sometimes like it can be more frustrating because you're like coaches, it's like you're a coach, you should want to hustle and grind. For fitness, it's like, okay, I get it, but we need to get you out of that headspace. So cool. Let's hit the first question is like, what should you do when you encounter a negative client? So that's a client. And just so we're clear, a negative client in this context, we're going to say is someone who's not checking in, not doing their workouts.
Okay.
You're rarely getting much communication from them. Like, what's your kind of protocol or your steps to handle that? And I'll give mine.
So my protocol is I've built a system to where I don't spend too much time thinking on it and I don't spend too much time stressing on it, right? So calls booked, right? So I do booking calls with my clients. I have touch points, like monthly. And I have the check-ins, of course, the feedback check-ins. I have a coach and I have a group community. So there's so much around to help and to prompt them and to keep them on track that if they are not following, then it's a bit of a zero tolerance thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, at the end of the day, it's up to you. You're in a contractual agreement. I'll be very honest, in a contractual agreement. So it's up to you what you want to do, if you want to use it or not. But I'm not unfortunately not your father. I'm not your, do you know what I mean? Like, so that's my thing with it, man. I'm very relaxed with it at this point in time, man. You know what I mean? If you're not doing checking, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. My duty is to make sure I remind you, make sure that I'm on you. I try to be on you about it, and literally go through all the avenues. So I have no problem picking up the phone and calling someone. I think they deserve that at least. They've paid, you know what I mean? So text, email, call. And if they, from there, then it's just, and by that, usually the person would respond and say whatever reason is they're going through, and we'll just try and work it out as human beings. What about you?
So, yeah, if they're missing check-ins, I'll just continue messaging them, message them. I'll give them like a 2-week grace period where if they ignore me for 2 weeks, then I actually have automation to follow them up. So, because I said at that point, there's no point. You ignore me for 2 weeks, there ain't nothing else I can do. So I'll actually put them, I got automation called like ghosted clients. And I just put them in automation and they get an email. They're like, yo, what's going on? Book a call. I ain't heard from you. You said you want to do this. This is what you paid me for. Let's get this thing rolling. So they get an email.
That's it.
then it's like another 4-day wait. They get another email. Then they get automated text. Usually by the text, they respond. Because the text is like, yo, let's say the person's name's Jack. Yo, Jack, you've been ignoring me. What's going on? Do you want to do this or not? Like a blunt text, basically.
Yeah, like a straight up.
Do you want to do this or not? Like, you've already paid. Like, what's going on? I usually get a response by the text. But then they'll either text back to that number or they'll respond to one of the emails or they'll respond in the app. They'll be like, oh, Jav, I got your text. Sorry, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I kind of got frustrated. And one thing I want to say is...
That's gold what you said there, man. I have to wheel that up, bro.
Yeah.
He said he's got an automation But when a client is cold,
It's the only way, bro. Because if you don't, then
powerful.
I'm gonna have to manually do it. And
I'm building that today.
And I think that, like, obviously, I want to make it clear, it's a rarity. It's not like every client we get ghost.
No.
So, like, let's say for every 10 clients, you might get 1 or 2 that ghost. But I've got it there so that if it does happen, I don't have to sit and think about each day because that's eating away at my energy.
Yeah.
Like, why is this person not getting results? Why are they not doing what I asked them to do? And I only asked them to do workouts a week, what we agreed on the call.
Yeah. No.
Which leads me to the next part, and it's the onboarding process and the expectations.
Yeah.
And I think this is why I try to back myself up, because I think if my onboarding is on point and it's clear, like, I don't ever feel bad about getting onto a client, or, okay, you know the process, it's 3 strikes and you're out. Like, I don't care. So what's your onboarding process like? And how important for you is it to set the expectations for clients, man?
Very clear, man. I think right from the first call, like before they're even set up, you know, I'm very open to turning down a client, to burning the lead, as some would say. You know what I mean? So from there, it's already really been set. Keeping it simple with them, just saying all of those things that you mentioned. In terms of onboarding, there's you got the terms and conditions. You got like a bit of a agreement email that goes out. You're saying, all right, cool, do you agree to do this, that, and the third, which they'll usually agree to. So yeah, man, like, just keep it very simple. I'm very big on just like, just say it how it is, So I just, from the beginning, from the first call, like from before you're even a client, we're going to talk very honestly. We're going to be very open. Do you need to do this? Do you want to do this? Why do you need to do this? What can you realistically do? And then we have like a very in-depth first call where we go over like their 3 worst habits, right? And then we dress those, because I think that's very powerful to understand what someone's worst habits are. Before you start, we know that you're not eating good at the moment, or you're not exercising much at the moment, whatever. But what other dangerous habits do you have? Because then you can kind of learn and understand something about someone. If somebody, and every coach needs to understand this, some of you will know, some of you may not know, right? If someone's not sleeping well, they ain't doing nothing. They're not achieving much, because it affects every part of your brain. They're not going to talk with sense. They're not going to rationalize well if they don't sleep well. So stuff like that is important to know, man. So that's that. I try to kind of iron it out. And I think that's what helps me, because if a month down the line, like literally I had someone, kind of similar with a similar scenario recently, I already know what it is. You feel what I'm trying to say to you? So it's like they can't really even try and pour any wool over my eyes, because, your sleep's always been bad. Like, how's your sleep? Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? So they can always, we already know what it is. So yeah, that's kind of mine. But what about yours?
So the onboarding process. So yeah, like you said on the call, I kind of asked the questions like, okay, how many days can you realistically commit to training? Are you willing to change some of these eating habits that you have right now? Plus, what are your current eating habits? So all of those things get done. But on the actual call, I go through like an expectations form with them. So I have like a form, and it will say, okay, this is what we expect from you. I expect you to check in once a week. It's only 5 minutes, 10 minutes at best. I expect you to update your progress pictures every 2 weeks and your weight. I expect you to track your calories for the first month. That's all I ask of you. And obviously, I will work out if they're able to do that, if they know how to do that before we get to that point. So I have like specific things that I ask them to do. But once they sign up and they sign the T's and C's, they also get an email with what we call a promise document, which is it's not a real contract, but it's just like some verbal agreement where, it says like what they promise to do for me and what I promise to do for them, because it is a give and take relationship. So, I promise that you're going to get a response within 24 hours. You're going to get your check-ins done. You're going to get program updates. If it's stated in the check-in that you need it, like I've given them my end of the bargain. I need you to match my energy. So yeah, there's that. Then obviously the terms and conditions, that's more of the legal side and the paperwork. But having the expectations form and the promise document, I think just outlines everything. But then the strategy call is really
Yeah.
The strategy call is really where I lay down the law. It's like, okay, cool. Here now, you've invested, you're in.
Yeah.
Now we need to see, let's put some fire to this. Let's make this real.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get them to, so what I do on my strategy calls is like, we'll go over the meal plan, the training app, but then at the end of it, I'll get them to set their own goals on the call. And then I'll say to them, I'll get them to tell me the days that they can train and the times. And then I ask them, can you open your diary? Can we put this in your diary on the call?
Mm-hmm.
So they put it in their diary on the call. So that way, there's no excuses. Like, we're done with excuses. We're done with excuses at that point. Because we did it together. You agreed to this. So
a good one.
I think just having I think for all trainers, all coaches, having like a clear, very crystal clear onboarding process help. Because when there's clarity, it avoids too much back and forth.
Yeah. No, it's important, man. What you're saying is very important.
And then I think the next point really is like continuing that relationship and the communication process from the start. Because obviously there's some clients that close with them and they're still going to ghost you and whatever. But if you've got like touch points that you have consistently, then you'll be good. So like, what do you have like a system in terms of how many times you talk to your clients or communication process?
Yeah, aim for like 4 times a week. So just to touch base with them, but usually there will be a point of them contacting anyway, because we've got a group chat, of course. So the group chat is always popping off. And if you've got the right niche, it will pop off. You know, when I say the right niche, you have a niche in general because they relate to each other. So the group chat's popping off, so I'll be responding to people in that. Separately, want to message people at least 3 times a week. Want to respond into their workouts and, just see what they're doing and if there's any issues there and if they need to step things up a bit. And then calls, we've got calls monthly as well. So if they haven't booked it, they'll get reminded to book their calls as well. So yeah, there's a lot of touch points, and it is a very important one. It's a very important one. I've not always been perfect with the touch points, but now that's part of the reason why, the expectations is high, and we don't stress if somebody is, not, does not doing anything or not doing certain things, because we know on our end
but with your communication, what's the form of communication? Is it always like written? You send videos? Like, how do you do it?
Written mostly, and then the calls written mostly at the moment. The Loom videos are good as well. Like when they're starting, I always do a little welcome Loom video, and so on and so forth. But now, me personally, written, and then in the group chat, I'll show my face a little bit, and then on the calls, I'll do the videos. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think I'm the same. Well, I talk to my client. The only thing is, I message my clients every day. But the reason I do that, I just think that I don't even know why I do it anymore, to be honest. I actually don't know. I think because I did it at the start.
In it is just
now it's just like, okay, let me just message them every day. The only thing I changed is I don't give workout feedback every day. So I do workout feedback every 2 days. So, well, not every 2 days. I do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So like, Training Rides, you can see they've left a comment on the workout. I respond to those only 3 times a week. Because I just think like doing it every day doesn't actually make sense. Because sometimes like some people won't leave any comments.
Yeah, like, or they haven't worked out.
It might just be one comment. So it might be, let me just do it in bulk. And then it's easier for me. So I'll message them every day, whether it's a hey, hello, what's going on. And I think a big thing that I spoke about with our clients the other day is also getting to know them on a personal level.
100%
can help them get a bit more engaged so they don't become a negative client. So
always,
like, if you got clients that got kids, if you got clients that maybe they're getting ready to get married or they're going on holiday, just remembering those things.
A standard.
Like you build a relationship with them.
Oh, standard.
They're like, yeah, man, they start to they like you. And I think that's important, man.
It's a people business, like we said. So it's not just, we're not just saying it for the negative. We're saying it because that we treat every single person like a person. And I think some coaches can forget that. When you get caught up in trying to grow. Yeah, grow. But remember, you're running a people business. If you wanted to just just deal with numbers, because then you should have made a product.
You should have made a product.
You should have made a product, and you can still can.
Yeah,
but it's a people business, so you
but
got enough.
That's the next point, though, isn't it? Like the importance of niching. Because if you ain't got a niche, and you're just taking on everybody, and they enter the wrong program for them, they're more likely to become a negative client.
That's true, man.
So
that's very true too.
I think that's something I've also experienced, is like
Same.
having like too many different types of people.
Yeah.
So then I just lose them because they weren't made for my program.
Yeah.
But I tried to squeeze them in and make it work for them.
Yeah, and I said it the other day in a group call that when you got your first 10 to 15 clients, it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
Because the numbers are still small and you could probably manage it, all right? But even if you're like, to get that synergy going from the beginning, it's hard mentally, because I remember hearing it from, the likes of Vince Del Monte, other people from time ago, but not really being fully subscribed, because you're just thinking, look, if a client's a client, if I can get someone right now, I'm going to take it. But yeah, man, you don't realize, and that comes from a scarcity mindset, right? When you've got an abundance mindset, you know that, look, there's like an abundance of clients out there. So I can actually pick the ones that I want, and then everything works a bit more smoothly. And I actually get more because I'm targeting more to these type of people. Then yeah, it's beneficial, man. And they're just in a good place. So that is a big thing, man. That is a big thing. You may feel like you can help people build muscle or do this or do that, but there's usually one thing that you're best at, and yeah, it's better to double down on that, man.
I think niching down will help minimize like negative clients, negative experiences with clients, because your program will be specialized rather than being generalized. Yeah. And that kind of leads to the next point. And like for me, negative clients, it happens, right? And I've got a million different stories, like funny stories.
Same.
Like I got a guy that signed up, yeah. I got a guy that signed up. He's not on Instagram, so you probably ain't ever going to see this. He was a LinkedIn client. I got a guy that signed up. He paid 5 bills, yeah. He was paying 5 bills a month, yeah. Good client, good price point. That's a very good price point, and I don't even usually sell that. He paid for like the first 3 months, yeah. Did the first 2 weeks. Did 2 weeks. Did the onboarding process, the strategy call, everything. I ain't heard from him since, bro.
He's disappeared off the face.
I ain't heard from him since.
Disappeared off the face of the earth.
My man paid, bro.
Right.
He's paid, yeah. He's paid 3 months up front, then it's 5 bills a month as well after that. Yeah. So good chunk of change. 2 weeks, he's done everything. Onboarding videos, onboarding call, done a few workouts.
Yeah. Then
he's just stopped replying. Stopped doing check-ins. He's just stopped. Communication has ceased to exist. Yeah. So I'm thinking, at this point, I've put him through the automation. I've emailed him. I've texted him. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Obviously, at a certain point, if a client's ignoring you, you just keep messaging, but you just leave it as it is. You're not going to hunt them forever. What are you gonna do? They came to you to get a result at the end of the day. Then I want to say like 4 months later, and the payments are still coming out, because it's not my job to. Like, I let them know it's not my job. I'm not your boss. I don't have your bank account. You run your own bank account. 4 or 5 months later, I get a dispute on Stripe.
Don't make me laugh, man.
Stripe. Oh, when they dispute, they take the money out straight away.
I know, bro.
So the money's gone, bro. Like 5 bills.
Okay.
Like that.
5 bills, yeah.
I'm like, no, might have been more than that. And I'm like, what's going on there, bro? How can you dispute it when I've spoken to you? Well, I've tried to speak to you and you've ignored me. But this is why we tell coaches you need to have terms and conditions. Because Stripe said to me, okay, you can appeal this, but we need all the forms and all the documents. Guess what? I had a 12-page list. I had all the emails I sent him. I got this thing on Gmail that can let you see if they've opened your emails. Screenshotted that because it has a green eye when someone's opened it. I was like, you can see he's been opening my emails and ignoring me. I had the terms and conditions that he signed. I had that he responded on Trainerize and then stopped. I had the last date he logged in on Trainerize. Bro, I sent them like 12 pages.
Yeah, how long did it take to sort that out?
Took me 30 days. But guess who won the dispute?
Not too bad.
Me. I got the money back. I was like, dickhead. So, it can happen, yeah? And I know I shouldn't be talking about clients like that, but it can happen. I'm just being real. No, it can happen. So you gotta be prepared. But you've also just gotta like Michael said before, don't like get into this thing of hunting them down. You let them know how it works, and yeah, so just be ready for that because people are gonna do that. But ultimately, it is about helping them and
Yeah, I think like like, just to chime in one piece of it, yeah. So I always say this, and I'm going to continue saying it for now. This is my stance that coaches' first year in business, they need to really do a lot of mindset work if they haven't already done it before. Because some might come into the game from a previous experience. They've got that in the locker already. But and I said this on my stories. Don't just be so quick to put that coach in your name. Do you feel what I'm trying to say? That don't be so quick to say, "Oh, I'm going to be a coach." If you ain't done the work yourself, if you ain't in the right place mentally yourself, because it's not flipping easy. It's not easy, and I mean, and it takes a lot of mental resilience. It takes a lot of people skills. It takes a lot of working on yourself. Because we've done it. We both like probably made mistakes in the earlier stages. I had one that I'll talk about, yeah, and it's not even really whatever. But you know, she was in Dubai as a teacher. She was in Dubai, right? And she signed up to the program, and I can't remember, but she said there was an error or something, right? And got back to her on it, sorted it out, whatever. And then yeah, she was there was I think she got something that said a different name or something like that. Like there was an error with the name, and she basically used that to kind of whatever. And she messaged that like late in the evening or whatever, right? And saying something that like, you know, abrupt or whatever. And I was kind of like, listen, like it's late, like you're texting me, I don't like take, you know, whatever. And that ended up in like an argument because obviously she's in Dubai and, you know, obviously it's a different time zone and everything like that. I think it was a call, that was what it was, yeah? So a call came through from Dubai just as she, and then I checked my phone. This was like early hours in the morning. Call came through from Dubai and I checked my phone and then I see a message from her around the exact same time. I'm thinking, you've called me and you've messaged me to tell me probably about like some problem with an app or some crap like that. And I said, listen, like, you know, you can't really be doing that. And she's like, oh, it wasn't me. You know what I mean? And then it was like, it turned to an argument or whatever. And then essentially she left the program because of that, right? And I say that to say that, you know, even we've made mistakes in the early stages of our thing. And it's not easy when you're dealing with people. But you got to come in at a certain level and you also got to be prepared to do the mind work. I think the reason we are where we are now, because we're always improving our mindsets and always sharpening our tools. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that your chances of being a coach are over if you're not like, you know, super strong, like your brain isn't like David Goggins. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to be working on it just as much as you're proclaiming it, you know, because dealing with people, let's just be honest, it's not easy.
not easy.
It's not easy, man. It's not easy.
And that's another thing as well, though, in regards to the communication side. It's important to like try and remove the emotion from it.
Yeah.
Because you can get a message early in the morning or late at night. And that's why I tried to not check client messages.
Times.
Because it can ruin your day, bro. When I started, I had no rules around this.
Yeah.
Like, it was only maybe after the first 8 to 12 months I started to put rules around it. Like, I would message my clients back at midnight if I was up, like, which now I also wouldn't do that. But when you're in them states, morning, nighttime, like your hormones are a bit elevated. You can be emotional with your responses.
Of course.
And if you're emotional with the response,
that's what happens.
It's like a tennis match, bro. It's gonna go back and forth. So I just remove all emotion from messaging when I'm talking to clients.
That's a big shout, like you being emotional with your response. That's very important. I had an opportunity to do that today. You know what I mean? And I had, again, like you just said, took the emotion out of it and I responded in a way. You just have to look at all the moving pieces and remember you are the coach for a reason. So in a sense, you're supposed to always be the bigger person.
Exactly. You know that's true. Like, that's true. Like, yeah. Always. You always have to be the bigger person.
Like,
yeah, it's
because
true.
That's why you're the coach.
Yeah, no, it's facts. It's facts.
So
yeah. In terms of dealing with negative clients, obviously we've given you some insights into what we do and how we handle it. Everybody has their own process, their own systems to deal with it. But ultimately, the main thing is just to try and communicate clearly and try to take the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
But the number one thing is niching, having the right target market and your onboarding and expectations. I think if that's like laid out clear, it minimizes the negative clients. You're always going to get, I don't think you can ever coach and not get a couple bad eggs.
Always.
But you want to minimize it as much as possible. If you've got a solid onboarding process, a solid like client expectations, terms and conditions, then you give yourself the best opportunity to make sure that every client you work with is happy. So yeah,
and do the work on yourself, because otherwise, not only the negative clients, everything's going to affect you, and it's a part of it. You know what I mean? And you're not even going to be able to identify when someone is actually being negative versus someone there's an actual reason to it and unique. Because that's another thing. Like I admitted just now, I was in the wrong with the Dubai situation. Do you know what I mean? So, but you need to be very, working on yourself to know what the difference is. Because sometimes if someone is being negative, you have to know when to cut them off as well. That's something I also had to do recently as well, to where someone was just, oh yeah, this is that. I feel like I might need to take a break and listed all the excuses and whatnot. And I literally just held it together and kind of like explained the reasons why maybe you can still do it. And it was like talking to a brick wall. And then I had to realize at that point there, then am I wasting energy? Of course I am wasting tons of energy. So does this make sense? Is that worth it? It's never. Not.
No, that's true, man. So yeah, if you are a PT, you're an online coach, you're dealing with a negative client, it's not the end of the world.
No.
And if you've got an abundance mindset, you will know that there's always going to be more clients out there for you. 67% of the population is obese or overweight. There's plenty of people to coach. Like, there's plenty of people that need your services. Trust me. Yeah. So yeah, man, if you found that useful, again, please like, share, subscribe. Have we got any free trainings for them?
Always, man. Always.
We'll put it in the description. We're giving them.
Right now, it's a 0 to 5K webinar. Yeah, 0 to 5K webinar about how, just literally our methods. So you can come in, understand what our methods are, how we get you there, and just see if our methods align with your goals, essentially.
Cool. All right. So if you want that, check the description. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, it will be in the description. If you're on YouTube, it will be in the description. Download it. You'll learn a ton of value on how to actually build your online coaching business. Apart from that, I think that's a wrap. It's Online Health Business Academy. Coach Michael, Coach Jav, we're out. Peace.